first hear of communist subversive activities, appointed by Congress to investigate, Chairman Parnell Thomas opens the hearing.
Investigating alleged communist influence and infiltration in the moving picture industry must not be considered or interpreted as an attack on the industry itself.
The court is packed with fashionably dressed women as witness Robert Taylor takes the stand. In answer to a committee question on whether the Communist Party should be outlawed in America, Mr. Taylor replies,
I personally certainly do believe that the Communist Party should be outlawed. However, I'm not an expert on politics or of what the reaction would be. If I had my way about it, they'd all be sent back to Russia or some other unpleasant place.
The reason I played that piece from Huac in 1947 is because yesterday I personally announced on the Savage Nation that it's time to bring back Huac, which is the House of Un-American Activities Committee. People today don't remember what the House of Un-American Activities was. Huac was an investigative committee of the U.S. House of Reps that looked into subversion within the U.S. government. It actually investigated those accused of being communists within the government. The committee investigated those accused of being communists within the U.S. media, especially in Hollywood. And by the way, to a large extent, UAC was successful in exposing communist infiltration. It even rooted out the communist operative and spy Alger. UAC revealed the extent of communist infiltration in the film industry. This committee served America, and it actually protected America from what was then the most serious threat to its national security, and that was the infiltration by communists into all branches of government and the media. The reason you have a distorted view of UAC is because of Hollywood and the media itself. After the 1950s, a generation of far leftists, fellow travelers of the Communist Party and academia and the media, all claimed in unison that the efforts of UAC and Joseph McCarthy in the Senate had been nothing more than a witch hunt. They claimed that it had destroyed people's lives who had nothing to do with communism. Remember all the movies about the innocent the innocent actors and directors in Hollywood who were picked on by the evil right-wingers and they jumped out of windows? It was all rubbish. Most of them were absolute communists and spies trying to produce pro-Soviet movies. How do I know this? What is my evidence that HUAC was on the right track? Because in the 1990s, the Venona transcripts of intelligence intercepts from the former Soviet Union were published, and these Soviet intelligence intercepts published in the 90s proved that most of the people that UAC had been investigating in the 50s had in fact been involved with communist groups, and many of these people had actively been spying on the U.S. for the Soviet Union. The old leftists in the U.S. media today and in academia still claim that UAC was just a bunch of right-wing nuts, but the truth is exactly the opposite. Now, the threat today of Soviet communism is largely gone, but other threats are even more dangerous, and they exist. Take a look at what's going on in our own Defense Department, that in a time of two wars on two fronts, you've got two patsies at the top doing Obama's bidding, talking about don't ask, don't tell. Did you hear what I just said to you? The old far-left infrastructure still exists in the form of Obama, the ACLU, the National Lawyers Guild, and other operatives, including the czars, that are today's enemy within, in my opinion. And what about the threat of radical Islam? What about the Fort Hood massacre that could have been stopped had we had a UAC overseeing the Defense Department? They knew the guy was a time bomb about to go off, but they didn't stop him because they were afraid of the verminous lawyers who would have sued any of them or thrown them out of their jobs. And that's why we're losing the war against radical Islam. That's why we are at greater risk today than we've ever been in the United States of America. And I say, and I argue today on the Savage Nation, we need UAC more than ever before. If we had had a committee to investigate the plots against the U.S. from within, we might have avoided the Fort Hood massacre. If we had had a group of brave men in Congress dedicated to rooting out the subversion of the United States, we might save thousands, even tens of thousands of lives. Now, when have you ever heard a CIA director getting up as he did yesterday, Leon Panetta, and saying Al-Qaeda is going to attack America within the next 3 months? What the hell is that? You mean the man with $1 trillion budget or unlimited budget with black ops, white ops, pink ops, your ops, my ops, is myopic? He doesn't know how to stop them? He's telling you to expect a major attack in America, and he can't do anything? We told you he was incompetent. He had no intelligence background. How did he get the job? How did Obama become president? Where was Obama born? Obama could not have even passed a background check to become an FBI agent, let alone the president. And there he is sitting on top of the entire intelligence apparatus in the United States of America. And at the top of the intelligence apparatus, Leon Panetta, he has the nerve to get up yesterday and tell all of America and the world and the enemies themselves, Al-Qaeda, we can expect to be attacked by Al-Qaeda within the next few months. Do you have any idea what he just said? Do you have any concept of the danger we are in, that we have these incompetent cowards at every level of government? And that's why I say it's time to bring back UAC. As long as there are groups such as the ACLU to threaten everybody, to aid and abet the enemies, as long as there are friends of Al-Qaeda in the U.S. media, our very existence as a nation will be in danger. And I say again, it is time to bring back UAC. Take the fight to the enemy within, and stop liberalism, the mental disorder, from destroying our country even further. I'm Michael Savage. I believe every word I just said. How about you? The phone number is 1-800-449-8255. Chicago. Michael, welcome to the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Michael, you're light years ahead of everybody bringing up UAC. Light years ahead of everybody. I swear, it's like a college professor. When you walk in the door, you better have your homework done. Don't raise your hand unless you know what you're talking about. But you are absolutely
well, let's stop right there. You know and I know that I'm always the tip of the arrow. That's why I've taken the heat for everybody in the conservative movement long before they ever took it. I took the fall for the conservative movement long before everybody else. I've been attacked by every left-wing fanatic group in the United States of America long before these people even existed in the media. I don't ask for anyone's thanks. All I ask is that my audience pay attention to what I say. If I just came out of the box and said, bring back UAC, and I didn't support it with the Venona papers, which came out in the 90s and proved that everything Senator McCarthy said was true, I wouldn't have done this show today. We're in graver danger today than our people were in the 1950s.
Oh, absolutely. And we have a media that, I mean, when you said the media, boy, first thing that comes to my mind is, now all I've heard is 20 times today is the FBI says the Christmas bomber's talking. Are you kidding me? All the intelligence he's giving them now was dead 48 hours after they captured him. Do you think these people are stupid? They packed up shop and left. They Mirandized the guy. They lawyered him up, and now we're getting no information from him. And yet we have our commander-in-chief has his minions in the military out there talking about don't ask, don't tell. When John McCain questioned him about what should have been done to the Christmas bomber, this guy couldn't even come up with an answer. Well, that's not my purview. Well, what is it?
Wait. Who couldn't come up with an answer? Which one, Gates or the other showman there? Mullen. Which one of the two showmen?
Gates. He couldn't
Gates, by the way, should resign. He is an embarrassment as a defense secretary. Gates should have resigned after the Fort Hood bombing. You know what sickened me after the Fort Hood massacre, rather? When they had a hearing in Congress, and they asked him, was this an act of terror? And he said, I'm not even going to go there. Did you hear that?
Yes, that's essentially what he said to McCain yesterday at the Armed Services
No, Gates is incompetent as a defense secretary. He's nothing more than a party hack. He's somebody along the lines of somebody in the old communist government, where you know what they call an apparatchik. Somebody was put in there and works in there. By the way, he was appointed by Bush, but what does that tell us? It was under Gates that the Marines were first persecuted. So what does that tell you about Gates?
He does a great job of putting SEALs in jail. He does a great job of putting Rangers in jail. He does a great job of giving rights to terrorists that we don't extend to our own military. It's a clown. And now they say, we're going to get attacked. It's like, wake up, America. You've been saying
Did you hear that, Michael? Did you read what Panetta said? We are going to be attacked in the next few months. I really had to read it 5 times. I couldn't believe I was reading it.
Well, at first, like I said, I thought to myself, well, that's what Michael Savage has been telling us for the last 9 months, is we're in grave, grave danger. And now this guy comes out and says, hey, we're going to get attacked. We can't.
But it's the head of the CIA says we're going to be attacked in America and expect to be killed?
Absolutely. And you know, they were talking.
You know what they're saying? They're going to use clean operatives. People not from known terrorist cells. Well, there's an answer for that, too. There's an answer for that, too. During World War II, the FBI knew how to stop people on the street who look suspicious. How hard is it to figure out where they're coming from and where they hang out and where they pray, if I may say so? They're not Irish nuns. They're not rabbis. They're not Buddhist monks. We know where the hell they hang out. What the hell do you mean you can't stop it? You useless sack of garbage is what I'd like to say. I'll be right back. I got to stop.